This is 26-year-old Dawson McGee, sitting in a police interrogation room in the early hours of a Tuesday morning. The Monday night before, he stabbed his own mother to death for asking him to move out of the house and get a job. Dawson is unaware that he is being recorded on a hidden camera. In 3 seconds from now, he will hear the sound of the door being opened by a detective. And at that exact moment, you will see a remarkably noticeable switch in his demeanor.
We've got something we want to talk to you about. We want to talk to you about what happened to your mom.
What happened to my mom?
Well, you tell me.
People called me and said something happened at home to Mom. They were very bad. What happened to my mom?
Well, that's what I'm asking you.
This acting is so bad, it's just gonna cringe.
I was waiting for my brother and sister to tell me.
Okay. Well, so, was your sister home this weekend?
Wait, I'm supposed to have an attorney?
If you want one.
Am I supposed to have I should request an attorney.
Well, that's up to you if you like one. But, I mean, we'd like to talk to you.
You're supposed to have an attorney. I would offer I would ask for an attorney.
So bad.
Do you want to ask for an attorney?
Yeah.
Okay.
It would come as no surprise that a judge deemed him fit to stand trial. A jury then found him legally sane, and he was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his mother. All of which was in spite of a continuous charade of mental illness similar to the one you see here. Dawson clearly believed that his passage through the legal system would somehow be easier if he were presumed insane, which is a naive, yet
let me just dump this in chat so the mods have it.
It's somewhat common misconception that many
fully
suspects make when facing serious charges. They have this notion that a plea of insanity would either lower the severity of their punishment or liberate them from it altogether. That instead of being sent to prison, they would simply be released back into society, perhaps with a free psychotherapeutic program to attend on the weekends. This is, of course, a far cry from reality. In the United States, if you're found responsible for a serious offense, but also found not guilty of the crime by reason of insanity, you will be institutionalized at a high-security psychiatric facility. These institutions are without question some of the darkest and most disturbing places in the system. And if you're not actually suffering from the crippling effects of mental illness, living in this type of environment will be a mentally agonizing experience. The foresight of what occurs inside these units would make the majority wish to avoid them. But once you are in...
Is it possible? We had something like this in my neighborhood where somebody did that, pled insanity or whatever, and they didn't institutionalize, but he was under like a lot of medication and therapy or whatever, and he was lucid before, but after he was like bugging, like he would walk in the street on his own all day, and he was absolutely bugging, but he wasn't institutionalized.
It is very hard to get out, and you will have to serve the same, if not a greater amount of time than you would have had to serve at a regular prison. So to put it briefly, if you commit a serious offense and then pretend to be crazy in order to get away with it, your life from that point forward will be an extremely dark and uncomfortable existence whether you manage to fool the system or not. But there is one benefit, which is the elimination of capital punishment. The United States cannot execute someone deemed insane during the time of their offense, which is the only conceivable reason a defendant would cling to this narrative even after knowing what lies ahead should it succeed. And this happens to be a notion that ties in closely to the primary subject of this video. It will focus on one particular individual whose interrogation footage is so fraught with blatant trickery that most of the segments presented to you won't even need suggestive commentary. You can simply observe and judge for yourself whether you see authentic behavior or not. But before showing you what pretending to be crazy looks like, we'll briefly show you a genuine case of the criminally insane, or at least a far more convincing one.
Are you guys sure that the person watches on stream? Because this is really dark.
This is 18-year-old Jared Murray, a freshman at East Central University in Oklahoma. On a Wednesday evening in December, he asked fellow student Gennaro Sanchez for a ride to Walmart. Once they got there, Murray pulled out a handgun and made Gennaro drive to an isolated country road where he shot him twice in the head. He then attempted to hitchhike to Canada, but was soon apprehended by police on the side of the road. He immediately confessed to the crime once apprehended, and was then interrogated by the arresting officer.
I went down to his dorm room and asked if I could be given a ride to Walmart in exchange for $20 gas money.
So he took you to Walmart?
Yes, sir.
And did you both go in?
No, we did not go in, sir.
And why not?
We pulled into the parking lot, then I pulled the weapon on him and demanded that he take me to Asher, Oklahoma, sir.
And why did all of a sudden did you decide that you need to go to Asher?
Because I was planning to take him out into the country and kill him.
Jesus.
Okay. Did he say anything?
He panicked, went to pull out his phone. I yanked the phone out of his hand, and then he panicked some more, kept telling me not to kill him. To make him feel more comfortable, I unloaded the clip, unloaded the bullet from the chamber, handed them over to him.
Fortune skipped that part, did he? No, he didn't.
And that eased his nerves a little. Then I pulled a second clip out of my pocket and set it on my lap.
And so you're driving east, and so I guess at some point, did you decide now was the time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what happened?
I loaded the gun quickly, chambered the round quickly, shot once, missed, shot a second time, hit, jumped out of the car, went around. He was driving 10-15 miles an hour, so it was rather slow. Ran around the hood of the car, and of course it was slow when he wasn't purposefully driving. Tried to pull him out, couldn't get him out until he already had hit the tree. Pulled him out there, dumped him into the, before I dumped him into the ditch.
Guys, this is a little dark. I'm
He was gurgling, so I shot him again.
Guys, this is a
And
little
a stick.
hardcore.
He then walks in the direction of the highway.
Did you get back on the highway?
Yes, sir.
And
Just this
which
one
way did
time.
you go?
The rest is all fine.
And what were your intentions? when you were walking north?
Canada, sir.
You was going to Canada?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He states that his plan was to escape into Canada, but he had nothing to escape with, not even a passport.
I had tried hitchhiking most of the way because the only way this was going to work, factoring in my belief that y'all found the crime scene, is if someone were to give me a ride there and then. And then whenever your patrol car was pulling up behind me, I didn't know it was a patrol car. I stuck my thumb out and you was there for the rest.
Jerry, I want to ask you just point blank, because, I mean, you sat here and confessed to...
Pretty much everything.
In my mind, and I think you might agree with me, just cold-bloodedly killed a young man tonight.
Yes, sir.
Or last night. Have you ever killed anybody else?
No, sir.
You will now see the detective attempt to establish a motive for the crime.
I guess I'm having a hard time understanding what you got out of it. Can you help me?
I don't really get anything out of it.
Do you feel any remorse?
I mean, this is just fucking crazy.
I'm sad that I got caught. So
Jesus.
Tell me why I should believe you that there just was going to be one person that was going to suffer from your consequences of killing.
You have no reason to believe me, sir.
I guess I'm just still having a real hard time understanding why.
The detective fails to establish a solid motive for a further 2 minutes. The discussion eventually lands on the victim's long-term girlfriend.
You don't think she's going to be upset, heartbroken?
I think she will be, sir.
How does that make you feel?
No different, sir.
Okay. I think you've been honest with me. I think you've told me just straight up, right out of the book,
Okay, thanks, Sant.
what happened.
Yes, sir.
But, you know, you've done a terrible thing tonight.
Yes, sir.
You killed a young man
Yes, sir.
just for the simple fact of, I guess pretty much this is safe for you.
Yes, sir.
And
We have to skip a
what
slot
do you
like
think
this.
should happen to you?
Death sentence, sir.
And why do you think you deserve the death sentence?
An eye for an eye, sir.
Do you believe an eye for an eye?
Yes, sir.
Jared Murray was found not guilty by reason of insanity. He was committed to a high-security mental facility where he is to remain indefinitely.
Anything anything to say for yourself today?
No, ma'am.
Any reason why you might have done this to this young man?
No, ma'am.
No reason.
No, ma'am.
You have nothing to say for yourself.
No, ma'am.
You want to tell the community anything?
No, ma'am.
Did you confess to police?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you proud of what you've done?
No, ma'am.
Do you have remorse for what you've done?
No, ma'am.
Jesus.
He appears completely void of human emotion. No regret, remorse, shame, nor fear. He had both taken a life and destroyed his own, yet seems indifferent to the circumstances. With respect to his interrogation footage, the most conspicuous element was the complete lack of self-preservation. He didn't once attempt to deflect
12.
blame, nor afford himself any type of justification for his actions. He simply spoke in a factual, non-biased manner, impartial to how his words may have been taken or even twisted to be used against him. There was no calculated structure to his behavior whatsoever. So with this notion in mind, let's move on to the primary subject of this video.
Oh, my mouse had a battery. Okay. Guys, it's just, guys, because of the nature of the video, I don't understand it's not TOS, but they said from 11 to 12 to probably skip it. Just a minute, we're fine.
Have a seat on the porch chair.
Sunshine, no, no. I'm not gonna risk it. So it's a good video on its own. I would hate to be banned for something like this, you know?
Right. Put your hands up.
The moment the door shuts, he lifts up his head to observe his surroundings. His behavior completely shifts once he believes no one is watching. If we look at his demeanor a moment earlier, we can see the contrast. He went from being detached to alert. His behavior changed as the environment changed, which is a recurring theme throughout this interrogation. It shows us that his mind isn't wandering off during these moments of apparent disconnection. He is in fact fully present and very aware of what's going on around him. As he looks up, his eyes immediately lock onto the camera. He now knows he is still being watched, and his following gestures will resemble that of someone with suicidal tendencies.
12, 10, I already skipped it. Mods. We're good. Jeez, man.
At face value, these externalized suicidal thoughts may seem genuine to some, but when framed with the rest of his behavior throughout this interrogation, they are exposed for what they really are: an act, a calculated attempt to garner sympathy and paint his character in what he believes to be a more positive light.
All right. How you doing, Nick? You all right?
That's terrible.
Gotta be able to speak so I can hear you. All right, I just need to ask you really your name and date of birth just to confirm I got it right, and then I'm gonna see you want a glass of water or something. What's your first name?
This is a situation where the proof against the suspect is already conclusive. He is without question responsible for the crimes under investigation, making the pursuit of a confession non-essential. The police know he did it, but they need to know why he did it, which would already require a complex strategy in order to obtain the correct information.
Chat, you know what, chat? Guys, I'm gonna keep it a stack. I'm not gonna watch this. Chat, guys, I love all of you, okay? Guys, I'm just not gonna watch it. Guys, it's really dark. I don't feel comfortable doing it, dude. Guys, if you guys want to hold it against me and make me feel bad, you go right ahead. I'm just not gonna watch it. So it's not ADHD. This is a good video. It's just really dark, and I don't feel comfortable doing it.